What we see here is Fernando Amarsolo's 1947 painting entitled Antipolo Fiesta. It is an oil painting of a rural scene celebrating a fiesta. Initially, we're given an iconic gaze of Philippine festivity in its thematic context of evidences like the lechon and the symbolic town structure. We focus on the positioning of the pair of dancers in a pose of what looks to be a tinikling dance, a popular Filipino folk dance that is also a known Filipino game. We see that there are no bamboo handlers present in the usual tinikling dance. Thus, this indication is what makes the painting very unique. It shows of what Filipinos can attest to identify themselves culturally upon first looking at the painting and assuming the tinikling dance, even if there is no visual for the bamboo sticks that are the known materials for the game. This is only one of the many examples of how our Filipino culture, history, and identity is well related with activities like games. More so, these activities somehow become a way of our lives, such is the case for Philippine games. As an introduction, Lopez tells us to look not beyond our nation and apply merely foreign games in physical education that are lacking of its foundational context, but to look intrinsically and see that establishing Philippine games is not just for the pride of our own folk games, but to nationalize recreation through these games. Lopez quotes that the family, the school, and church are major institutions in Philippine society responsible for the transmission and preservation of traditional custom and lore. They are the most effective guardians of Philippine folk games. Now that we're equipped of the essentials of as to how or why it's important to study Philippine games, let's see it applied in a particular Filipino game entitled Lawin at Sisiw. Lawin at Sisiw is one of the many types of Philippine games composed of 6 or more players that can be grouped into two, one being the Hawks group and the other one with the mother hen and chickies. The objective of the game is for the hawk to capture the last chickie at the end of the mother hen's group. It is considered a Filipino ordinary game under physical games, games of dexterity or skill, and mimetic or drama games. Lawin at Sisiw in English means the hawk and the chick. We'll see why through its background story. Lopez, from Tolentino and Ramos's Philippine Folk Dances and Games, tells us that the game is derived from an interesting children's drama comprised of a hen, a hawk, and a chickie. The chickie is sold to the hawk but escapes after the hawk sleeps, returning to the end of the line behind mother hen. The hawk then tries to chase the chickie but is guarded by the mother hen and the other chickies, as were given on figure 76. Here's how the game looks like being played in real life. The mother hen fights the hawk each time the latter lunges to catch the chick. All the little chickies hold each other's waist behind their mother. Other stories of the game tells us that the hawk once lended mother hen a ring, and upon losing the ring, the hawk became angry and then seeks revenge to mother hen by attempting to catch their chicks. For the terms, assigned roles, and the mechanics of the game, the mother hen is the oldest or biggest player in the group, while the second biggest or oldest player in the group is the hawk. The rest of the players are chickies, and the chickie at the end of the line is what the hawk is after, since this is the chickie that escaped from their possession. The objective of the game is for the mother hen and the chickies to defend, guard, and protect the last chickie in line from the hawk that it is being chased by. There are two ways that the game can be won by either the mother hen and the chickies or the hawk. So according to Candy Paraiso, it's either A. If Lawin succeeds in catching the purchased sisiw, he takes her again and punishes her by making her scratch again for food. The little chickie escapes again at the first opportunity. She returns to mother hen and the fight between mother hen and Lawin is repeated. Or B, if Lawin fails to catch the escaped sisiw, the game starts from the beginning and Lawin tries to buy another chickie. There are no particular materials of the game required, just the formation that is also bound by the rules, and that is The mother hen stands and watches all the little chickies stand one after another, holding each other's waists tightly. The first chickie in the line holds on to the mother hen's waist. The hawk stands a distance away from the mother hen and her brood. In other versions of the game, the use of a handkerchief is tied around the last chick at the end of the mother hen's lane. This is the one the hawk aims to get a hold onto as a symbol for capturing the chickie. But for the game to be played in an organized manner, there are rules and limitations. First, the participants. The game can be played by 6 or more players present, or by 2 groups opposing one another. Participants can range from children to adults. Second is the setting. An open field is encouraged with a maximum space for movement for the number of participants to avoid the risk of injury and to enjoy the game. To be more specific, here are the guidelines on how to play the game. So first, as a disclaimer, these rules apply external to the conditions of the COVID-19 pandemic. I discourage playing the game given that it goes against our rules of social distancing. So now, here are the rules. First, to play the game, you would need at least 6 players. 5 of these players would be from the mother hen and the chickies lining up behind the mother hen. And the opposing group would be the hawk alone. The mother hen should be the oldest and strongest among the team, while the hawk being the second oldest and strongest physically. Should there be more than 6 players, the additional players could be lined up from behind the hawk as members of the opposing teams. A handkerchief could be tied around the last chickie from the mother hen's chickie as a symbolization of being captured by the hawk if the handkerchief is grasped and taken. But this is optional. Third, one person excluded from the teams will signify the start of the game. Fourth, members following either the mother hen or the hawk's team are to wrap their arms around the waist of those in front of them. They should hold tightly as to not lose grasp of each other. Fifth, for the positioning of the start of the game, the hawk and the mother hen should start facing each other with their members lined up behind them. Those following the hawk cannot be the ones to chase after or grab a hold of the chickie. This is only to be done by the hawk. The teams will work together with different strategies on how to win the game. If the hawk successfully gets a hold of the mother hen's chickie at the end of her lane, then the game is done with the hawk successfully winning. If the hawk fails, then the mother hen's team wins. A pointing basis could be done as according to the teams. To play Lawin at Sisio, the players would need to be fast with body coordination and attentiveness to strategy. This game is similar with Touch the Dragon's Tail, another traditional Philippine game. It can be played with only one group in a straight line with the head of the dragon chasing after the last person of the line or the dragon's tail, or it can also be played in groups. The notion of guarding territory or area of space is also similar in Agawan base. In China, there are also traditional Chinese game called Hawk Chasing or Catching the Young Chicks, and it's also a similar version of Lawin at Sisio. So in the context of the Philippines, Lopez adds cultural notes on Lawin at Sisio and Filipino behavior. So we see this manifested in bargaining. So Lopez quotes that no self-respecting Filipino buys a dress or even a tube of toothpaste without first bickering a bit over the charges. So if you would read the reading on Lawin at Sisio, we would see that this came from the instance when the mother hen tried to negotiate with the hawk on who would get a better side of the deal. So it's kind of negotiating, and we see how it's manifested in the story of the game and on the mechanics of the game. So that's bargaining. Second is the role of the Filipino mother. So not to accentuate gender roles, but the mother naturally and culturally in Filipino context plays a dominant role in controlling the family and preserving the highly personalized relationship within. So it's a mother trying to protect her chickies. More interestingly, if we look at it, we go back to the origin story of the game. So the movement of the hen's head bobbing up and down in its natural state mythologically came from the idea that the hen is looking for the hawk's ring, right? So this is relevant to Alan Dunn's game morphology as cited in Philippine Games Classified. So it's quoted that a folk tale is a two-dimensional series of actions displayed on a one-dimensional track, and the game is a two-dimensional folk tale. So according also to anthropologists Roberts, Arth, and Bush, there are three anthropologists who came with a thesis that, quote, games are similar to different media expressions like folktales, drama production, music, and paintings. So we see how games contribute to culture. So once again, we go back to the notion of Philippine games and their relevance to building recreation and identity as foundational from our culture and history. So there are many more games that explore this possibility, and it's up to us as students and as part of the academe to expound this relevance into practice.